pure, real impact about every single penny that you give going directly to where we say it's going to go and to it changing a life at the other end. We adopt 18 projects and our donors choose where their money goes, and today's event, as it's 99% attended by women, we chose one of our women's projects, which is the Rape Crisis Centre in Hertforshire, which is in the south of Israel. It's a tough one because the subject matter is very, very difficult, and I'm going to tell you a story about a little girl called Jemima, who's 4.5, and her teacher thought that Jemima's behaviour was a little bit unusual. She was playing in a way that wasn't the same way other children played, and she was saying things that other children weren't saying. And she came to the Rape Crisis Centre in Hertforshire and she spoke to the counsellors there about this little girl, Jemima, and they investigated and they did various things and they discovered that Jemima was being abused by her uncle. And her mum knew about it. I'm not here to judge. I don't live the life of that lady, but I can tell you that the only reason that that teacher was able to report that Jemima quite possibly was in danger was because of a programme that we fund. And it is for counsellors, for therapists, social workers to go into nurseries and talk to children aged between 3 and 5 in communities where sexual abuse unfortunately is prevalent, and to teach them, the children, about the difference between a good touch and a bad touch, and a good secret and a bad secret. And they also work with the teachers and they work with the parents. And it was as a result of the teacher having been on a course that they had run that she understood that this behaviour was not always but oftentimes an indicator of what was going on. And they were able, on the back of what happened with Jemima, obviously to intervene in the family and to make sure that the abuse had stopped, but also to work with the community to educate the community, the wider community, about the impact of this kind of abuse on this little girl and all the people around her. So let me tell you, when I say that every single penny you've given today, it probably means that we can do a whole course in another nursery, which will be 30 kids. We're all parents and grandparents in this room, we all know. So when I tell you that every penny, if you buy, I don't have them in my hand, but there's cards outside, notelets that one of our bat mitzvah girls, she made them in aid of Myisrael. It's actually not for this project, I've just remembered she chose a different project, but it's still doing an amazing thing at that project. And if you buy a raffle ticket, and I think there are pledge cards which, they're there if you want to fill them out, every single penny will mean that a child is potentially not in danger anymore. So that's my emotional bit. My mum always says, Dan, you've got to stop crying, but I find it really difficult. I'm going to let Daniel say a few words, because Daniel has been in the journey of Myisrael since the beginning. We fund all of our costs, the costs to run Myisrael, by separate donations, which means I go to people in the Jewish community that I think are in a position to give at a slightly larger level, people like Daniel, who in the beginning, in fact I'll tell you, he was my first ever pitch to a bigger donor to support our running costs. He met me in his hotel in Green Park, and he said, this is how he greeted me: I don't know who you are, I don't know why I've agreed to meet you, but you've got 18 minutes, go. And that was about 9 years ago, so the rest, as they say, is history. Daniel Levy.